Said in the previous video, microfractures are constantly, so small fractures, constantly being repaired through just normal remodeling that occurs. 5 to 10% of the skeleton each year is remodeled. However, there's also a different type of fracture, right? The broken bones that need to be repaired through a little bit more serious mechanisms. So it's going to be kind of a brief overview of fractures. You're welcome to read more about it in your book if you'd like to. So when you have a fracture of the bone, and this is not a microfracture, this would be a broken bone in terms of broken all the way through, not necessarily all the way in half, but a serious break in the bone. This example here is shown all the way through. Remember that bones contain blood vessels. So we're going to have potentially some internal bleeding occur here. That's not a bad thing. This hematoma is a blood clot that forms, and this blood supply is going to allow the bone to heal a lot better than cartilage heals. So first step is actually this hematoma. The bleeding forms a blood clot. That's a positive feedback mechanism. And then we've also got that's allowing blood supply to come in to start the healing. So second step here is rapid cell division that is going to be both chondroblasts and fibroblasts to form a callus. This is a soft fibrocartilage callus that is quickest to form. And it's soft because it's not bone tissue, right? So it doesn't have calcium. Here you see the new blood vessels coming in. So this is called fibrocartilage because it is a combination of the products of both chondroblasts and fibroblasts. Next step is osteoblasts replacing cartilage, similar to endochondral ossification. So this is osteoblasts forming collagen, bringing in calcium that are going to replace that soft callus with hard, spongy bone. The fracture at this point, when that hard callus is present, the fracture is strong enough to be able to withstand normal the forces of normal muscle contraction, which means that you could put weight and walk on it again, but it's still not completely healed. So then remodeling is going to occur. You basically have some extra stuff there from those different calluses. Remodeling occurs via what? Osteoclasts and osteoblasts that are going to replace the spongy bone with compact bone along the sides, eventually break down, resorb that callus on the edge as well. So here are the cell types that are contributing to each of these steps. What I'd like you to be able to do is explain the categories used to describe fractures. There are 3 sets of categories here I'll briefly talk about. You may know some of these already. So what's the difference between these 2 breaks here? This one's called displaced, meaning out of alignment, basically. This is non-displaced. You could have a non-displaced that's like larger than this. Oftentimes when you have a break all the way through, you're going to have displacement. You're going to have the bones move out of alignment. So displaced, non-displaced. Here we've got another term to describe these. We've got different sections, different orientations of our breaks. Transverse and linear. Linear would be a longitudinal break. Lastly, we've got difference here. You may know this as closed and open, or simple and compound. So simple is a closed fracture. You can't see it protruding through the skin, versus a open or compound fracture is when you can see the bone. These are 3 general categories. There's a lot of other ways to talk about breaks. So green stick fractures, those specifics that, again, you're welcome to look into more on your own time. What I'd like you to be able to do is explain the steps of bone fracture repair. These are some of the terms I used. And then explain the categories used to describe fractures. So again, not the specific fracture names, but the categories.